Get your day started the right way with Good Day Tampa Bay.
Ahead at 8, Tropical Storm Milton has officially formed in the Gulf. The storm projected to make landfall in Florida less than 2 weeks after Hurricane Helene caused widespread damage.
Plus, working to prepare while still removing storm debris from the last one. How local communities are getting ready for Milton.
And an outpouring of support in a time of need. How one business is helping our area by bringing in the essentials.
Good Sunday morning and welcome to Good Day Tampa Bay. I'm Matthew McClellan.
And I'm Mariah Harrison. Thanks for joining us. Let's get right to Val to see where things stand in the Gulf as of Sunday. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you both. The 8 o'clock advisory for Milton just came out, and as we expected, further strengthening already this morning. No big change to the track, but we'll talk more about that coming up. We'll start with a check on your satellite and radar where, yes, things are active across the state. We have transitioned to this rainy and cloudy pattern, already dealing with some showers here across the area, and more of these to come today. We actually have a flood watch that's in effect for all of the Bay Area for today, and the area highlighted under a risk for excessive rain. So not a good situation for us, as grounds are already very saturated, and we're looking at the potential for more of this rain, not just today, but again Monday, Tuesday. We're in this pattern ahead of Milton approaching our coast. That is likely going to be on Wednesday. Temperature-wise, we're in the mid and upper 70s across most of the area. 76 for Brooksville, Wesley Chapel, 78 right now in Tampa, 77 right around Bradenton and Sarasota areas. So as we look at your day planner for today, these temperatures are not going to budge too much. We're going to keep the clouds with us, on and off showers, some locally heavy rain at times, but we'll top out right around 80 degrees this afternoon. Of course, all eyes on the Gulf, and we're going to talk more details about Tropical Storm Milton in just a few minutes. Mariah?
Well, our top story this morning, tracking Tropical Storm Milton. As Val mentioned, the models predict this storm will strengthen and hit somewhere on the Gulf Coast. It's projected to make landfall Tuesday night. On Saturday, Governor DeSantis issued a state of emergency for 35 Florida counties, including Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, Sarasota, and Polk counties.
And as Val mentioned, we are keeping a close eye on the Gulf this weekend. Tropical Storm Milton does have the possibility of turning into a major hurricane.
Yeah, and that storm coming less than 2 weeks after residents already suffered through Hurricane Helene. Fox 13's Regina Gonzalez is joining us live. And Regina, you know, we really don't have a lot of turnaround time here.
No, that we don't. A lot of people are exhausted. They're defeated. They are actively working to remove home debris from their already damaged houses. So as you can imagine, this is not welcome news, but officials are still warning people to take this all seriously, to prepare. And as far as your plans went for Hurricane Helene, evaluate what worked and didn't work and make any changes accordingly as we brace for Milton. Now, we know sandbag sites are opening once again in cities and counties across the Tampa Bay region, so be sure to check with your local entity on where those are and how long they will be open, and be sure to know your evacuation zones. I know this feels like deja vu, but unfortunately it's time to get in the zone to prepare for whatever Milton is going to bring us.
Great information. We just got to hope that residents listen and don't take too long to prepare. Regina Gonzalez live on Following Milton Preps for us this morning. Thanks, Regina. Well, now the city of Tampa encouraging residents to get ready for more rain. Several sandbag sites are open across the city at locations like the Himes Avenue complex and at Al Barnes Park.
And for those in the city of Venice, a self-service sandbag station is set up at City Hall and at Venice Public Works. There is a limit of 10 bags per vehicle.
And a heads up for those who plan to visit the Insurance Village in Clearwater. This was a one-stop shop that opened up on Friday for those needing assistance with filing those insurance claims from Hurricane Helene. Well, operations are closed there today, one day early. This is in response to now Tropical Storm Milton. And in preparation for the storm, Pasco County, Hillsborough County, and the city of Tampa all will be closing their comfort stations.
Now, these stations are going to return to neighborhoods in need as soon as it's safe to remobilize the facilities. Once they reopen, the city of Tampa will offer free Uber vouchers for riders to these comfort stations. The Tampa Emergency Transportation Service offers vouchers for up to $25 off 2 round-trip rides, and this is to help residents who've lost access to personal transportation due to storm-related vehicle flooding. This offer of free transport is valid through October 25th. You can visit tampa.gov/recovery rides. Again, tampa.gov/recovery rides, and follow the instructions to sign up for the voucher.
In Bradenton, they are also taking precautions. Sandbags will be available for residents at the Public Works Annex from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. tomorrow. Note that you are limited to 10 bags per car. Bradenton city officials are also urging residents to place their storm-related household debris curbside as soon as possible for pickup, but anything not picked up should be secured before Milton arrives, as we just heard Regina talk about. This will allow city crews and volunteers to clear the roadways before the rain starts.
Here at 8:08, we do just want to remind everybody at home, if you're able or if you want to help, you can either scan the QR code here on your screen or go to this website. That's redcross.org/FoxForward, and this will help provide critical relief to victims of Hurricane Helene.
Well, in other top stories this morning, police say an arrest has been made following a SWAT situation in Pinellas Park. This happened on 50th Way North. Police responded to a call about an armed domestic disturbance there. They say when officers arrived, they found 2 female hostages. The suspect, Russell Rippey, was inside and armed with an AR-15 style rifle along with several handguns. The SWAT team was able to get the 2 women out safely. Rippey was arrested and taken to the Pinellas County Jail. He's been charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a firearm.
And in Tampa, a standoff situation ends peacefully. Just before 2:30 Saturday afternoon, Tampa police received a call about a guy walking around armed in front of a home on North McDill Avenue. Wait till you see them tackle him here. When police arrived, the man barricaded himself inside. After negotiations, there he goes, little struggle, and he's down. After negotiations, the man eventually left the home. He was taken into custody without issue.
Well, 8:09, and in partnership with Hillsborough County Fire Rescue, Kroger brought 2 tractor trailers full of food to Ray J yesterday. They unloaded dozens of pallets of water, plus lots of Chobani Super Milk, which doesn't need refrigeration. They also had non-perishable foods and paper products. They handed those out to victims of Hurricane Helene.
So we just wanted to make sure that our associates, customers, neighbors, and the community impacted by Hurricane Helene had what they needed. We know it's a difficult time, and we want to be there and support them.
Well, Kroger says it will continue to support those impacted by Helene throughout Florida.
All right, still to come here on Good Day. Days after Helene and weeks after Debbie, Sarasota could endure a 3rd hurricane.
What officials want homeowners to know and how they are still working to rebuild. But before that, let's check in with Val.
Yeah, hey, good morning to you both. Already gloomy out there today, and we're starting to talk about some accumulating rain to be possible today and really the next few days ahead of the main event. That is going to be late Tuesday through the day on Wednesday. We're still eyeing that time frame for landfall. So some heavy rain continuing, and we'll have more details on what we're tracking with Tropical Storm Milton right on the other side of this break.
Welcome back. We are keeping a close eye on the Gulf this weekend as Tropical Storm Milton is expected to rapidly intensify.
Now, it is still pretty early, too early to predict, but some say those predictions say the storm could hit the Tampa Bay area as a major hurricane. Homeowners and local businesses are still in the middle of recovery efforts after Hurricane Helene caused all of this widespread damage. Sarasota officials, they are prepping residents ahead of the storm while trying to clear storm debris from Helene. The Disaster Recovery Center, they're going to be open from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. today, and that's on Ashton Road. Solid waste crews are working to identify areas that need some extra help with cleanup. Officials say residents should take today to plan for this storm.
If you have a friend or a family member that you can stay with during the next couple of days, just so that you don't have to contend with the rain and potential winds that are coming, that is a great thing to be doing today to make those plans. And also just stay tuned. We do want you to stay safe. We don't want you driving through flooded roads.
They say recovery crews are working as quickly as they can to clear the area. I mean, a triple punch. Debbie, Helene, now possibly Milton.
And time right now is our resource that is most valuable to us. So it's so important that we take today, take tomorrow, use that time wisely while we have it.
Absolutely. And those are really good messages to go by, because what we are certain of at this point, this storm is going to make landfall on Florida's west coast. Will it be a little bit to the south of us? I mean, all of those things are very important details that we're fine tuning depending on where the worst storm surge will be. But regardless, I mean, we're talking rain, wind, and a storm surge threat that is heading our way. So take the time to get prepared, and we'll continue to bring you updates here in the next day or so. Really critical updates to come, and we expect hurricane watches, storm surge watches to drop for the state of Florida likely today. You could see where the current tropical storm warnings are, but we don't have any a little bit closer to our local area. So those are the only areas right now right along the Yucatan Peninsula that are under that tropical storm threat. But the 8 o'clock advisory in, and hurricane hunters have found this storm strengthening pretty rapidly, more so than we expected just from our 5 o'clock advisory. So those winds now up to 60 miles per hour as this storm slowly moving to the east at about 5 miles per hour, but it'll start to pick up a little bit more forward speed. So by tomorrow afternoon, we're talking about a Category 2 hurricane to be likely. We probably see this become a hurricane later today, and then notice Category 1 by later in the day on Tuesday. We're up to a major Category 3 hurricane, and that's the point where a trough will start to steer this more off to the north and east. So this is the general track, and it's held pretty true here. We haven't really seen too much of a budge in this track in the 8 o'clock advisory that just came out. So we're still kind of focusing in on this Wednesday time frame with landfall somewhere along the coast. And it's important to remember 4 days out, the margin of error with this cone is about 150 miles. So we're talking about 300 miles of coastline included in this cone in where we could see a potential landfall. So these are the details that are going to be ironed out today and tomorrow as the storm gets more organized, as we see that more defined center of circulation. We'll start to be able to have a better picture about where we're talking about some of the impacts here locally. But as we look at our model runs, you can see generally pretty good consensus here. There are a couple outliers that are to the north of Tampa Bay, some of those more down to the southwest coast. But at this point, all of our models kind of focusing in on this general thought that brings this hurricane somewhere along Tampa Bay down to southwest Florida areas, and still focusing in Tuesday night through Wednesday night to be the biggest impact time frame for us. And we are still watching for a cold front that kind of drops into the Gulf, and there are a couple of factors that we're watching with this. This is going to create some stronger wind shear right along the Gulf Coast, and we'll also talk about some drier air that it does look like tries to get wrapped around in this storm really right ahead of landfall. So will that impact additional strengthening just ahead of landfall? These are some of the key details that we're looking at. Here's a better picture of what I'm talking about with that mid-level moisture. You can see this brown color here. Notice it on the backside of Tropical Storm Milton, and then you can see some of that kind of getting weaved up into it. So these are some of the details. Maybe this weakens the storm just a bit, or at least holds it from strengthening just ahead of where we're eyeing that landfall. And again, it looks like a little bit later in the day on Wednesday, but we're still eyeing Wednesday to be the time frame that this moves on shore. And as for flood watches, those go into effect this morning, and they last through Thursday morning. So even ahead of this storm, we're already talking about some big rains on the way. And really, I think generally the thought with the rainfall accumulations, 4 to 8 inches, but we do have some pockets that are highlighting some higher rain totals to be possible. So at this point, some big rains are going to be on the way. And already today, we've got a little area of low pressure ahead of Milton. So that's what's helping to enhance some of that rainfall today. Tomorrow, it's kind of a 1-2 punch, because then Tuesday and Wednesday, that's when the main rain event will occur from Milton. But for for today, we're just going to be talking about these on and off showers. Some locally heavy rain will be possible at times, and so we're just going to be in this pattern here, and that's really going to hold our temperatures off quite a bit for today. Look at how much of the Bay Area only reaches for high temperatures in the upper 70s. I do think a couple of us will hit right around 80 degrees. Tampa, one of those spots, but that's about as warm as we'll be today under the cloudy, the rainy conditions. Lows tonight in the low and mid 70s all across the area, and then we'll jump right into your 7-day forecast where we're holding with the 80s and we clear out this storm and sunshine returns at the end of this week. Matt.
And that's what we're holding on to. Thanks, Val. Coming up for us here on Good Day, a tech tool may be causing more issues for teenagers. Why experts say artificial intelligence could be fueling cyberbullying. We'll be right back to explain. Welcome back. In our tech headlines, artificial intelligence is constantly improving, creating new ways for us to communicate. But as we navigate this new tech frontier, experts are warning that AI could also be escalating cyberbullying among teens. Fox's Chanley Painter explains. Up next here on Good Day, celebrating the creepy crawlies. Why fans are flocking to tarantulas.
It's a pink army on a mission. There are Making Strides walks all across the Bay Area. Just scan the QR code to get information on the one nearest you.
Okay, more to come in our next half hour. Providing aid while fighting misinformation. The latest claims surrounding relief programs and FEMA's response. That's coming up.
Get your day started the right way with Good Day Tampa Bay.
Welcome back to Good Day Tampa Bay. It's 8:31, just about on your Sunday. And here's a quick check on the headlines that we're following.
As rescue operations continue across the Southeast, officials are working to combat misinformation surrounding Hurricane Helene. Officials say former President Donald Trump is among those amplifying false claims. He's accused the federal government of withholding aid from Republican areas and claimed that relief money is being diverted elsewhere without evidence. The problem getting so out of hand, FEMA launched a rumor response page on its website addressing this claim and many others. Administrator Deanna Criswell says it is slowing down critical work.
We have resources for individuals. We want them to apply for assistance. This level of misinformation creates this scenario where they won't even come to us.
FEMA right now has about $20 billion on hand to provide assistance. Early estimates show that the storm could cost upwards of $34 billion. Congress is expected to reload FEMA just before Christmas, but it may need to pass a bill as soon as lawmakers return to Washington in mid-November. Meanwhile, a Florida couple plan to go north for their special day to avoid hurricane season in the Sunshine State, but they still hit a stormy setback.
Yeah, and now they're scrambling to prepare for their perfect day. Fox's Matt Trezza has more. And that was Matt Trezza reporting. The couple says the wedding will happen today, rain or shine. Hopefully they have more shine than rain, Val.
Yeah, we hope for that as well. Not the best scenario to be planning a wedding, having a wedding, while we're also having a hurricane take aim at the state. But you know what? Life is the way it is sometimes. So everyone, today, tomorrow, make sure you're doing what you can to get prepared, because there are a couple of things we are certain on at this point, and that is that an intensifying hurricane is heading to Florida's west coast. There's where Tropical Storm Milton is right now, and as of the latest advisory, this is strengthening pretty quickly here. And actually what's ahead of this storm is what's bringing us the rain for today. And so we're kind of talking about a 1-2 punch here. But the main event from Milton, that's going to start late Tuesday, it looks like, but Wednesday, that's going to be the high impact day for us. As here's a look at kind of where we're tracking this general area of tropical storm force winds. That's 40+ mile-per-hour winds. And so that will be on approach to our coastline here by the middle of the week. And heavy rain is already a concern the next few days. We have a flood watch that goes into effect for the entire Bay Area starting at 11 o'clock this morning, lasting through Thursday morning, where you can clearly see where we are talking about with all of that heavy rain kind of crossing the state very close to our area as the storm makes landfall. So all eyes on the Gulf of Mexico. I'm going to have your full forecast coming up in just a minute. We'll run through all of our weather graphics and what we're talking about here. And we do expect some hurricane advisories to be issued at some point today. So make sure you're checking back for all of the latest updates.
Those advisories probably coming sooner than later, Val. Thanks. Making headlines across America now, rescue efforts in North Carolina now largely turning to recovery missions as hopes dwindle of finding additional survivors.
In some of the hardest hit areas, volunteers are stepping in to bring relief to people who've lost everything. Fox News correspondent Madison Scarpino has more. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris met with officials in North Carolina to survey the damage left behind by Hurricane Helene. She was greeted by North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper as well as the FEMA administrator. Harris received an operational update about the recovery efforts and vowed to send more resources to affected areas. The presidential candidate praised volunteers who were helping their neighbors and helped pack aid kits to be distributed to those most in need.
We're going to be getting substantial resources in to help folks, and in particular to help them now be able to apply for federal assistance. I know extremely important because a lot of folks don't save for these kinds of emergencies, and when they hit, it takes a real drain on their resources and ability to take care of themselves and their family.
This was the Vice President's second trip to the state since the storm hit last week.
All important cases. After the break, it is this week's Good Day Garden.
David Whitlam is going to show us how to harvest a special kind of sorrel and another Sunshine State showdown in the swamp. A look back on yesterday's matchup between UF and UCF. That's coming up in this morning's sports.
Videos on Fox 13 Tampa Bay's YouTube page have more than 500 million views. See what everybody else has been watching and subscribe now.
And now, Fox 13 meteorologist Valerie Mills with your Sky Tower radar forecast.
Starting with a check on our enhanced satellite as Tropical Storm Milton still spinning in the western Gulf, looking like a healthy storm this morning. We've seen this intensify rather quickly. And if you remember on Friday, we had much lower odds. And so this has developed really quite quickly from yesterday morning through the day on Saturday and into this morning. It has been able to pick up some speed as far as the strength that it's kind of gaining. You see, it's a relatively healthy looking system. You can see some of those lightning strikes kind of right outside, some of that deep convection right now on the northern side of this area that we are tracking. And this was able to kind of tap into the remnants of a tropical system that was in the Pacific. And so that's why from Friday night to Saturday morning, this thing just really exploded, and all of the ingredients are mostly in place for this to continue to rapidly intensify over the next few days. So here's the general thinking. By today, if not today, definitely tomorrow, this will become a hurricane, and it is still forecast to become a major hurricane as it kind of crosses into the central and eastern part of the Gulf of Mexico. Then it starts to take that curve more to the north and east. And so that track generally holding here. We have a trough that's going to be kind of guiding this storm off to the north and east. So as this is sitting off our shore, notice a much smaller storm than what we were talking about with Helene, but still we're looking at this red color here. That's where we're talking 20-foot wave heights just off the coast. And then this storm still forecast to kind of cross across the state, then emerge back into the Atlantic and even bring some big swells to that part of the area. So as we take a look at our exclusive Fox model here, here's generally what we're talking about with this system. It is a much smaller system, but it's important to remember with smaller storms, they are able to intensify and strengthen a little bit easier than some of the bigger storms that would feel more of the influences, say, for some of the stronger wind shear, some of the drier air, and those are certainly factors that we are watching. Here's that cold front that I was kind of just mentioning to you that's going to help guide this storm. With it, there is going to be some strong wind shear really just to the north of this storm, and also some drier air that may try and get wrapped around into that storm. These are some features that as it gets closer to the coast, will this impact? It's strengthening even more just ahead of landfall. Some of that shear and some of that drier air could certainly factor into that. But I wanted to show you some of our more reliable model runs. You can see this green one here. That's our exclusive Fox model. Then we've got the European model in red, or the European model in white rather, and the American model, the GFS, in the red. All of those at this point in relatively good agreement on what we're talking about with the general track, but it's the strength that is still up into the question mark zone. We have seen some models throwing out a much stronger storm, others keeping it a little bit weaker. So that is something that we're going to be fine-tuning, and of course that will determine the impacts and exactly where the landfall is. That's going to be a big key component in where the strongest winds are set up. But as we look at this map, this is really kind of highlighting the time frame where we're talking about the potential for tropical or even hurricane force conditions here around the area. That's going to start late Tuesday night, all of the day on Wednesday. That's when the worst of the weather will be. Then by Thursday morning, that should cross the state and we start to see conditions improve. But this is strengthening quickly now. 60-mile-per-hour sustained winds as it very slowly moves to the east. And as I already mentioned, then it takes that curve to the north and east. That's likely going to start on Tuesday, then crosses the state. By the end of the week, this is going to be done with. So by Thursday, it will be off the east coast of the state and conditions will start to improve. But today, take the time to make sure you're taking the preparations to prepare for this storm. Remember, we always talk about preparing for a category above what is forecast. And at this point, a Category 3 hurricane is likely to make landfall along the west coast. Exactly where the landfall will occur will determine where the biggest storm surge will be. That's going to be right along and to the south of the main center of circulation. But then on the north side of the storm, that's where we're still concerned not only with the strongest winds, but the biggest rainfall is likely going to be on the north side of that circulation. So a small change can make a big difference for some of those local impacts. And those are the details that we're going to be ironing out today, tomorrow. We likely will see watches and advisories issued today. So make sure you're checking back on the forecast and doing what you can to prepare and make sure you have a plan in place should we see some of those hurricane advisories and evacuation orders here in our area. All right, on a brighter note, it's time to wish a happy birthday to some of our youngest Fox 13 viewers in our first birthday club. First up, we have Emmett. He loves playing with his dog Bailey and swimming in the pool. What a cute picture. Happy birthday to you, Emmett. Next, we have Emrys. She's celebrating today. His favorite movie is The Sword in the Stone. I used to love that movie. Happy birthday to you, Emrys. Such a cutie. Happy belated birthday to Axel. He loves playing with pots and pans. Ooh, I'm sure Mom and Dad love that. And watching Miss Rachel. Happy birthday to you, Axel. And finally, happy belated birthday to Zella. She loves to explore and play with her toys. Hope you had a great first birthday, cutie. And if you want to see your little one on TV, send us a picture, name, date of their first birthday, and a little bit about them. Email it to WTVT firstbirthdays@fox.com.
Well, still ahead this morning, letting furry friends join in on the autumn fun. Details about today's Pet at the Patch event. That's up next.
This is the time of year when stormy weather can turn into severe weather. That's why you need the power of Fox 13's Sky Tower radar.
Okay, 4 minutes to 9, and in today's hot happenings, who says humans get to have all the Halloween fun?
No one. Today in Seminole Heights, pets are at the patch. You can dress up your pet in an adorable costume and bring them to Seminole Heights Methodist Church. There will be a costume contest, tons of fall festivities for you and your furry friends. That contest runs from noon until 6 p.m. The winner will get a prize pack for their pet. There will also be some pet vendors and grooming services on site.
Great options for in-between storm preps, right?
Yeah.
DK Farms, meanwhile, launching their Fall Fest this weekend, featuring hay rides, pony rides, bounce houses, and more. Attendees can enjoy delicious food from farm vendors, and you can also do some early holiday shopping at the craft vendor market. Tickets are on sale at the main entrance for $15.
Okay, still ahead, staying sober for October.
How bars are cashing in on going zero proof. We'll explain after the break.
You're watching Good Day Tampa Bay.
Welcome back. It is Sober October, one of 2 months a year when millions of people press pause on the booze. But this is not just a personal challenge. It's become part of a bigger trend that's fueling the growth of a booming industry. The global market for non-alcoholic spirits is estimated to reach a whopping $25 billion this year. Sober October was inspired by Dry January, which has skyrocketed in popularity. I didn't even realize Sober October was a real thing, Mariah. I actually just opted to do this myself, and now we're all doing it together.
And now we are all doing it together.
And so are you.
I'm also doing Sober October. Imagine that.
Yeah.
All right.
That's going to wrap us up for the news at 8.
Good Day at Night starts now.